I'll go. Um, in my business and lawsuits, a lot of times you talk about whether there's liability, and then if you can win on that, what are your damages? And it's surprising how many people will come in and say, yeah, but I got great damages, and they never really want to focus on step one, which is, well, can we win? I mean, do we have a theory that lets us talk about all these things that went on? And the parallel here is very similar. I think you'd have very few people that disagree. Number one, the statements I love. Jane Parker and Mr. Kuntz, both of you said essentially the same thing. I don't want to send any money to Sacramento. I want to keep it here. I think that feeling and sentiment is generally unanimous. I mean, certainly the state budget helps us in many ways, but I don't want to send any money to Sacramento we don't have to send. But the issue, as I listen, and I wrote all of your names down from Mr. Velasco, Mrs. Harvey, Jane Parker, Mr. Phelps, Mr. Dowd, Mrs. Dasney, what you're saying is, so long as you can legally do it, let me tell you what all the benefits are. And we don't disagree on those things. There's some great benefits to having money, whether it's redevelopment or anything else. There's great benefits to having money, and you can use money for a lot of things. Mr. DeWitt and Dr. Jones kind of got into it. We need money. We do. Here's the awkward situation we're in. 2 hearings ago, it was expressed to us what the law is, sort of step one on this analysis. And the law says clearly that your need for money to fund projects cannot be the reason you expand redevelopment. Yet for most of us, that is 100% of the reason why we want to do it. I'm guilty. But we have a responsibility not just to do the right thing, but we're going to be held accountable, which is sort of the fangs to the analysis. We have to find, and not by a community standard that if you walk around you see graffiti. I lived at 1854 West Avenue for 10 years. I love that home. I took great care of it, and I only sold it because my brother-in-law bought it, who's raising his 2 twins right now, 5th graders at Pacific Drive School. The Valencia Boys and Girls Club is right down the street from where I lived. I loved that neighborhood. I loved what was going on my section of the street. But the fact of the matter is, legal blight, as opposed to our sort of own subjective opinions, legal blight is defined. And legal blight is defined by specific criteria. And we had a report prepared. And our consultant prepared a report I will accept with the best he could do. And folks, there's no one here that's going to argue that our consultant's report is going to meet the standard that the California Appeals Court sets forward. Our consultant in his right mind would never stake his reputation that we're going to survive a lawsuit based on that standard. If he would, I'd love to call him on it, because here's what's going to happen. Despite the fact that every one of us can agree what the benefits are, we know that. But we have been told by at least 2 groups we're going to get sued. And we're going to get sued on legal standards. And we're going to spend a lot of money defending lawsuits, and we're going to lose. Not because I want us to lose, not because I'm Nostradamus and I have a great ability to figure out what's going to happen. This isn't a close case. It's unfortunate in many respects, but it is what it is. And it would be totally irresponsible for me to send people out of this room tonight thinking, we're going to spend all this money, and what we're really going to do is spend a couple $100,000 in a lawsuit, get drop kicked. We pay the fees. We probably end up paying their fees. I don't know that, but I suspect if we lose. And in the end, we're not getting any of these benefits anyways. We have several property owners that we've heard from, and surprisingly, the gentleman was here. Hi, I'm here, and I was surprised to hear my property is blighted, supposedly, according to the report. And there weren't many in the report. But for those, Benner Metals, we got a letter today. They sent a letter to us. Well, we sort of support this, but you said our property was blighted. Is there something we're supposed to do? Evidently, the few people we've heard from that have blighted property have the ability to correct something, and we've never even told them what we want them to fix. So we're missing an ingredient. And I don't want you to misunderstand that I'm an advocate for one side. I just see this freight train coming down the tracks, and it's sort of like standing in the middle of the tracks and saying, well, I don't want to move. Well, okay, but that decision is going to be made for you. We know what the end result is. And we've spent a lot of time talking about all the things that we could use the benefits for. And I hope you don't misunderstand. I agree. We love the benefits. By the way, downtown has wanted a market for 20 years. We still don't have one, so don't get confused with what the benefits really are. We could use the money. We could. Legally, we're not allowed to use that as our motive. And if we eliminate that and only focus on legal blight, it's a non-starter. It's not a matter of what I want to do, what I wish I could do. I am obligated to take the knowledge that I have and protect the citizens, and I can't support this despite any desire I might have. I can't do it because I'm not going to spend your money in a lawsuit that I think we're going to lose.